On this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast, we've got your weekend plans for you. First off, anti-possession tattoo party.
And then we'll pop on over to the cat and night spots. Let's do this. Welcome to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. I'm Diana.
And I'm Liz.
And we're going to talk season 12, episode 6, celebrating the life of Asa Fox.
Indeed. That is a title of an episode we are going to talk about.
It is. Oh, what have you been up to, Liz?
So it's January now. We've reached winter.
But it's not.
But it's not winter. It was 82 degrees today, and that was kind of awesome. But hey, everything is fine. Everything is just fine. And so it was, yeah, I don't know. So enjoying some good outside time. I did watch the series, My Lady Jane, and I wish somebody else would watch it so I could talk about. Spoiler alert, they take history and they change it a lot. And they change the Catholics versus Protestants into shapeshifters versus non-shapeshifters, which was an interesting choice. So that's how the spoiler. So I think that'll intrigue you to watch it more. But I want somebody to watch it so that I could bitch about what they did with the history.
Well, I mean, it's historical fiction.
It is historical fiction, but there are some premise when you do that and you change things. You have to think about like, why did you make the Catholics the non-shapeshifter, so it's, and that may not even be, that may just be my brain making too direct of a correlation between what happened in history and what this fictionalized version was, but it was very well written and it was hilarious and the characters were great. Costumes were fantastic. Dialogue was incredibly witty. It's filthy, it was a good time, and I'm very sad that it was only on for a season. It deserved to be on longer. So I did that. And then right now I'm very sore because I thought it would be fun to go hang myself up in aerial chains and spin around in them. And it was fun. But now I hurt. It hurt then and I hurt now. So, but I did that to myself. So speaking of hurting, how are you doing?
I'm still in recovery mode from my new knee. But yeah, I think that part's getting a lot better. The part that's not getting better is my ability to sleep at night. That still sucks. So hopefully one of these days soon, I will unlock the last piece of the puzzle of recovery, which is sleeping through the night.
Yeah. You're just like a little baby, can't sleep through the night.
Exactly. I'm like a little baby. I'm real cranky. I can't drive. Can't sleep through the night.
Can't vote. No, just kidding.
Damn.
So many things, just like a little can't drink, like there's just
hold on now. There's definitely it's been a few hours since my pain pill. I can have a glass of wine, no biggie. I did learn this weekend that Mikosina, which is a beloved Tex-Mex chain in the Dallas area, has their Mambo taxis, like their margarita they're famous for because they're delicious. They will sneak up on you. And it's frozen margarita with sangria swirl. It's whatever. But theirs is good. But they make a skinny version, which really at the end of the day just means it's not as sweet and not filled with a bunch of like crappy sweeteners. It is so good. And I learned that they had that this weekend. And I had that and a mountain of chips this weekend. And I was a happy girl.
That does sound lovely. Yay, Tex-Mex.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my excitement. But yeah, it's
goes to Uber Eats, order some chips and queso.
But yeah, so there we go.
Cool. Yeah, there's, it's January 2026 now when we're recording this. So in just terms of keeping things relative to what's happening in the world, Jared Padalecki broke his leg, We don't know why. We just know that the moose is down. The moose has broken his leg. I have thoughts about how it happened. We'll see. We'll put a bingo card up. It'll be like a death watch. But everybody, I want to hear, like, we should put a poll out. How do you think Jared Padalecki broke his leg?
Oh my gosh.
I think it involves some sort of dancing, but that's just me.
Did he trip on his hair?
Did he trip? Was he trying to take a selfie with his hair and trip on something?
There you go. But yeah, so apparently he's announced that with no details. So that's where we're at today.
As far as I know, he wasn't filming anything. So I'm assuming it is embarrassing because he hasn't said all he did. So guys, if you want to, you can Google this no matter what time of whenever you're listening to this. You can Google Jared Padalecki HEB favor and watch how he loses his shit over HEB not wanting to deliver his sushi.
Well, it's the Favor app.
The Favor app. Yeah.
That's who he's mad at. But yeah.
Well, HEB owns it. So technically he's mad at HEB, and that's kind of like being mad at the mafia. Like, you can't be mad at HEB in Texas. Like,
I didn't realize that Favor was owned by. I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure. I know it's it's their thing. So okay. I'm pretty sure. I think it's them. So yikes. I mean, you can't go after HEB.
No, that's a line you don't cross.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. No matter how mad you get, Padalecki, HEB might be coming for you.
Oh man. Danger.
All right. So let's get to talking about him and all the other people in this episode celebrating the life of Asa Fox, which there is no double entendre behind the meaning of this episode. That's just what it's doing. And this was episode 6 of season 12, and it first aired November 17th, 2016, and was directed by John Badham, who in season 11, we saw him do episode 11, Into the Mystic, episode 14, The Vessel, and episode 22, We Happy Few. This was written by Steve Yockey, or Yoki, Yockey. I'm going to say Yockey. He went on to create, this was his first episode of Supernatural, and he will do some more episodes after this, but he goes on from here to create The Flight Attendant. And really, the Emmy Award winning Katie Cuoco. God damn, I can't remember how to say her name.
Cuoco?
Yeah. Cuoco, right? Cuoco?
I think so, yeah.
So her show, and then also the Dead Boy Detective series, R.I.P. So, this is, I kind of warned about this episode last time. Like, I have feelings about it, and I think we'll talk about why I have feelings. It just, there's a lot that happens in this episode. There's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
So
and we open with a recap.
Yeah, and that recap kind of, first off, we're like, obviously, Dean killed Hitler.
Yes.
Just in case you forgot.
Yeah. And we get the highlighting with the Winchester family talking about saving people and hunting things. And we see a little bit of Mary, we see a little bit of Bobby, and we get some demonic possession.
Yeah, so a lot of hunters, a lot of demons, and then the family is still spending time apart. So we're like, okay. But we're not going to start off in the present. We're going to start off in Manitoba, Canada, Emerson, in 1980.
Yeah. And we've got a kid running through the woods being chased by something, and he gets cornered by this something. It's monster. It's a werewolf that scratches his cheek, and right when it's about to attack him, it gets shot. Yeah.
And it was going for the heart, and he gets shot, and we find out that he's getting shot by Mary. And we can tell it's a younger Mary because her hair is in pigtails.
Yeah. And so she drives this kid home to his very nice house, and she kind of like introduces herself as Mary, and he gets him to introduce himself as Asa Fox, and she's like, "You'll be fine." And he's like, "What was that?" She's like, "Oh, it's a werewolf that I've been tracking for like a super long time. No big."
Yeah. And instead of giving him a description of what werewolves are, we think she's just going to drop him off. So we're going to talk about some things about what werewolves are. We're going to talk a little bit about some lore now. I wanted to talk about we get onto these lore subjects sometimes because I'm just Googling around things. And by Googling, I mean, I use DuckDuckGo because don't use Google. And thinking about this, I got from werewolf to clinical lycanthropy. And just thinking about lycanthropes and people, like the actual clinical people who think that they are werewolves. That's what we're going to talk about today. And in 1992, the psychiatrist Richard Knoll, the man responsible for the term Renfield syndrome, published a collection of case studies titled Vampires, Werewolves, and Demons, 20th Century's Reports in the Psychiatric Literature. And we're going to look at several case studies from that book. And I would say, besides a trigger warning, because we're going to do some things, there's going to be some talk about bestiality and in general hardcore mental health challenges. These are real people, and it's hard to think, trying to think about this not like this is 1920 and we're at a freak show looking at people. It's really more just thinking about that this is the human condition and these are the challenges some people faced, and it's really interesting. And so with that in mind, we're going to talk about clinical lycanthropy. So in his introduction, Knoll quotes from a clinical description of lycanthropy attributed to a 7th century physician named Paul of Aegina. I may say that sounds like a vagina, but Aegina, that sounds right? He was around 625 to 690 AD. And on lycanthropia, or on lycaon, those laboring under lycanthropia go out during the night imitating wolves in all things and lingering about sepulchres until morning. You may recognize such persons by their marks. They are pale, their vision feeble, their eyes dry, tongue very dry, and the flow of the saliva stopped. But they are thirsty, and their legs have incurable ulcerations from frequent falls. Such are the marks of this disease. You must know that lycanthropia is this, I don't know how to say that word, I'm just changing it every time, it's fine. So it's a species of melancholy. I do know how to say the word that is melancholy. So it is a species of melancholy, which you may cure at the time of the attack by opening a vein and abstracting blood to fainting and giving the patient a diet of wholesome food. Let him use baths of sweet water and then milk whey for 3 days and purging with the hyra from colocynth, which was some sacred drug from a gourd, twice or thrice. After the purgings, use the theriac of vipers, which was like an anti-snake venom, and administers those mentioned for the cure of melancholy. When the disease is already formed, use soporific embrocations and rub the nostrils with opium when going to rest. Now, I think I found the solution to your sleeping problem, Diana.
Yeah,
I think if you just rub your nostrils with opium before you go to bed, I think you're going to you'll rest just fine.
There, I think you're right. I'll have to look into that one.
All right. So, but this definition, Knoll pointed out, was the first time that lycanthropy was linked with melancholy or depression. Knoll also discusses using the term zoanthropy instead of lycanthropy so that the diagnosis could include individuals who believed they were animals other than wolves. Because when we start talking about this, we're going to talk about some cases people think they're animals, but they're not necessarily wolves. And so this first case study was reprinted from the Canadian Psychiatric Association Journal in 1975. It was presented by the chief of psychiatry from the Veterans Administration Hospital, Lexington, Kentucky, and an associate professor from the Department of Psychiatry from the University of Kentucky. So they have some credits, right? I have edited these studies to make them understandable and shorter because psychobabble is long. All right, case number 1, Mr. H. Mr. H was a 20-year-old single, unemployed white male from Appalachia. He was admitted with a history of prolonged and chronic drug abuse, including marijuana, amphetamines, psilocybin, and LSD. 10 months before, he had taken LSD with strychnine while in Europe with the U.S. Army. He was out in the woods, took the acid, then felt himself slowly turning into a werewolf, seeing fur growing on his hands and feeling it grow on his face. And he felt an urge to chase and eat live rabbits. He also felt that he'd obtained horrible insight into the devil's world. That's a note. Keep note of that for future case studies. He took the feeding time on the mess hall sign as proof that others thought he was a wolf. The Army sent him to a psychiatrist who treated him with Thorazine for a few months. He returned to the U.S. and went to rehab for a few weeks. He came out abstaining from all drugs except marijuana. Then he went and saw The Exorcist 2 weeks before entering the hospital, and it fucked him up. He thought the devil came out of the screen and possessed moviegoers.
Oh.
There is a family history suggestive of mental disease, and an older brother and a maternal cousin were denied admission to the Army because they were, quote, weird and nervous. Was this an actual Army classification? Please tell me there was a weird and nervous a recruiter could check when they came in. Weird and nervous, not going in the Army.
Probably.
Yep.
Probably.
So Mr. H started...
I hope so, actually. Sorry.
So Mr. H started doing hallucinogens in junior high. While in high school, he became interested in the occult and identified with a male priest who claimed to be a Satanist. Now, what fucking church are you going to? Because it sounds awesome, and I would like to attend that mass. But so he then joined the Army, where his drug use escalated. He was discharged after 14 months and returned home and reported being restless, hostile, agitated, anhedonic, which is a state of lacking pleasure or interest in activities, socially withdrawn, and unable to maintain steady work. He also believed that the devil had possessed the hospital staff. He felt his thoughts were being broadcast and that he had powers, including the ability to read minds and control dogs with his stare. The patient was treated with trifloperazine and showed gradual improvement. At the time of his discharge, 32 days after admission, he had dropped the belief that he was a werewolf or that he was possessed and displayed no other psychotic determinants. The patient was referred to an outpatient clinic near his hometown, 200 miles from this hospital. He was seen for an interview at that clinic 2 weeks after his discharge and appeared polite but guarded, was preoccupied with Satanism, and had stopped his medications because they made him feel uneasy. No further contact was established with his patient, and staff suspected he may have felt threatened by the clinic. Attempts to contact him for further visits were unsuccessful.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's case number one. And I said, like, that does not sound like a good time at all. And I really hope at some point somebody found that boy and he got some help.
Yes. Yeah.
That boy.
That boy.
So case number two, a case of lycanthropy, which was originally printed in the American Journal of Psychiatry in 1978, and the doctors were from the Hauser Clinic in Texas. So this patient was a 49-year-old married woman obsessed with wolves, like thought about them 24/7. 1 week before her admission, she got undressed, assumed the female sexual posture of a wolf, and presented herself to her mother. This behavior lasted for 20 minutes. The next night, after sex with her husband, she growled, scratched, and gnawed at the bed. She stated that the devil came into her body and she became an animal. She also experienced auditory hallucinations, but there was no drug or alcohol involvement. Now, fuck this lady's husband. Why did he have sex with her? Like, clearly somebody is having an episode. The fact that
she is not well.
She is not having a good day, sir. And yes. So that was just my thought on that. I was just like, that was a thing that I know the other part is horrific, but that's what pointed out to me that your husband sucks. So the hospital. So the patient was treated in a structured inpatient program. She was seen daily for individual psychotherapy and was placed on neuroleptic medication. During the first 3 weeks, she suffered relapses when she said such things as, I am a wolf of the night, I am a wolf woman of the day, I have claws, teeth, fangs, hair, and anguish is my prey at night. The gnashing and snarling of teeth, powerless is my cause. I am what I am and will always roam the earth long after death. I will continue to search for perfection and salvation. She also expressed, and this these are psychiatric journals from the 70s. So these are these are their wordings, not mine. So she experienced strong homosexual urges, almost irresistible zoophilia, which zoophilia refers to a paraphilia involving a sexual or romantic fixation on non-human animals. And it can include sexual acts, and that's bestiality. But they're saying basically she kind of got this sex drive to want to have that with wolves. And she started having masturbatory compulsions and then culminated the delusion of a wolf-like metamorphosis. She would gaze into the mirror and see the head of a wolf in place of a face on my own body. Just a long-nosed wolf with teeth, groaning, snarling, growling with fangs and claws, calling out, "I am the devil." Others around her noticed the unintelligible animal-like noises she made. So this is another person who, while they're having this delusion or whatever experience they're having, is also having the delusion about devils as well, which I think is interesting.
It is.
So by the fourth week, she had stabilized considerably, reporting and that when she looked in the mirror, the wolf eyes were gone. She had one short-lived relapse which responded to reassurance by experienced personnel. And that episode occurred on the night of a full moon. And she wrote what she experienced: "I don't intend to give up my search for what I lack in my present marriage. My search for such a hairy creature. I will haunt the graveyards for a tall, dark man that I intend to find." And girl, I mean, I kind of get it, right? I mean, I want to haunt graveyards for tall, dark men. So I mean, maybe she just needs to read some more paranormal romance, right? So the hospital believed that the patient suffered from chronic pseudoneurotic schizophrenia. What is of particular interest is that the delusional material was organized about what they called a lycanthropic matrix. And they said that her symptom complex included the following classic symptoms. And they gave 5 classic symptoms. 1, delusions of werewolf transformation under extreme stress. 2, preoccupation with religious phenomenology, including feeling victimized by the evil eye. 3, a reference to obsessive need to frequent graveyards and woods. 4, primitive expression of aggressive and sexual urges in the form of bestiality. Or 5, physiological concomitants of acute anxiety. So interesting that those are things I see in all of these cases or across different people. So thinking that they're going to become a werewolf, having this preoccupation with religion, and especially like thinking that the evil eye or something is coming after them through that way, and a need to visit graveyards and the woods, which, I mean, come on, they're awesome. Why wouldn't you want to go there? And then, the bestiality thing, gross, but okay. I think that could also just be, you're just kind of, because when she was like not, I don't think she wanted to fuck a wolf. She was like kind of being like a wolf, right? Like with the animal nature coming out. So that was case number 2. So case number 3, in Lycanthropy Lives On, is from the British Journal of Psychiatry, and this is from 1975. So the patient, GB, was a 66-year-old widow living with an unrelated family member. For a week, she had become aggressive towards some members of the family for no apparent reason. She would get down on her hands and knees and bark like a dog. She had also been expressing paranoia fears about a plot being against her. She had full memory of acting like a dog, and she blamed this on the influence of the devil. She heard auditory hallucinations, which she thought were coming from evil spirits in the other half of the world. She presented signs of depression, including weight loss, poor appetite, and sleeplessness. She also feared her body was diseased and expressed a death wish, but denied suicide ideations. But she was fully oriented, and her cognitive issues seemed to be intact. So she was aware of what was going on, but had all this other stuff, right? Yeah. And so they said that lycanthropy is essentially a form of depersonalization, and the differential diagnosis must therefore include schizophrenia, manic depressive psychosis, hysterical neurosis, psychotic depression, and organic brain syndromes. And then they went on to say the symptom has been described for over 2,000 years. And in this age of rapidly changing psychiatric taxonomy, it must be one of the oldest in the history of psychiatry, which I think is interesting that diagnosis has really been around for thousands of years. Okay. All right. So our last one is case number 4. Lycanthropy alive and well in the 20th century. And this is from Psychological Medicine, 1988. So these people came up with diagnostic criteria. And so they said clearly the belief that one has been transformed into an animal is central to the definition of lycanthropy. However, in their analysis, they wanted to allow for circumstances which the patient had an array of behavior. For example, barking, howling, crawling on all fours, things that were suggestive of an animal, but maybe they didn't specifically say, I am a dog, right? They were just acting like one. So they selected the following operational definition to include at least one of the following. One, the individual reported verbally during intervals of lucidity or retrospectively that he or she was a particular animal, or two, the individual behaved in a manner reminiscent of a particular animal, for example, the howling or the growling. So with that criteria, they contacted the members of McLean Hospital and together with the residents and the nurses asked them to recall patients who had exhibited this. They actually came up with 13 leads, which upon review yielded 12 cases, which I feel like is a lot.
That seems like a lot.
It seems like a lot. But I guess but that also is like, so maybe this is not as rare as we seem to think. I seem to think it was, right? They did exclude one patient who was observed to have a cat-like gait, but did not believe himself to be a cat and exhibited no other behavior reminiscent of a cat or other animal. Sorry not to make light of this, but that is a hilarious thing to write in your journal. He had a cat-like gait, but other than that,
I didn't think he was a cat.
He just kind of walked like a cat, but we were just like, no, that's just the way Sam walks. So the results of the 12 patients, 8 met the DSM-3. This was 88. So this is before DSM-5. So 8 patients met DSM-3 criteria for bipolar disorder. 6 were manic and 2 were depressed at the time of the episode. 2 had schizophrenia. 1 had borderline personality disorder, and 1 patient experiencing the chronic delusion that he was a cat received the diagnosis of atypical psychosis, although he'd experienced recurrent episodes of major depression in the past. 1 patient growled and contended that he was a Bengal tiger, and another patient whose mania was resolving said that he was a rabbit and hopped around the ward for a day. However, in these latter 2 cases, the patients admitted that such behavior was under the voluntary control. Each also admitted that he did not hold firmly to the belief that he was an animal. So thus they did not meet the criteria for this. So then they gave a case study of a 24-year-old single male presented to McLean Hospital with a history of recurrent major depression, a brief period of alcohol abuse, and the belief that he was a cat trapped inside a human body. The belief had persisted without interruption for 13 years. 13 years. The patient stated that he had known that he was a cat since the secret was imparted to him by the family cat, who subsequently taught him cat language. Very jealous. Though gamefully employed, the patient continued to spend virtually all of his spare time in feline activities. He lived with cats, had sexual activity with them. I don't know what that means. Don't want to think about it. Hunted with them and frequented cat night spots, which I hope is like a club for cats. So frequented cat night spots. I'm really picturing some cats having like a jazz club, you know?
Yes, exactly what I was thinking.
So he had a preference for the cat night spots to their human equivalents. His greatest, and I'm sorry, it's so hard to like, I'm trying to look at this with empathy and compassion. So his greatest but unrequited love was for a tigress in a local zoo. He hoped one day to release her. The patient's lycanthropic delusions remained refractory to treatment with, and then they gave him a bunch of drugs, and then 6 years of insight-oriented psychotherapy. But I mean, he'd been thinking he was a cat for 13 years. It's going to take a lot of time to sort through. And yeah. So I think that's interesting, right? So he thought he was a cat, but they're putting him under lycanthropy instead of zoanthropy. And there's another word too, but and you can get specific. I know there's a specific word. I think you can go by like cats or like dogs as opposed to wolves. Mm-hmm. But the fact that this has been a diagnosis for thousands of years, and the number of people that were in this one case study from that hospital, like that makes it seem like there's maybe just a more common human condition.
Yeah.
And then one would think.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what Mary should have been thinking about when Asa asked her, "What is a werewolf?"
Is that what she should have imparted?
I think so.
Oh, well, damn. Okay.
All right. So, yeah, we've never talked about that before. So there we go. There's some insight into the world of the clinical werewolves.
Clinical werewolves. Well, we've also gotten a peek at Mary's car now, by the way.
We have. So what is Mary driving?
It is a 1968 Pontiac Firebird, and it is really pretty. I like it. So as Asa exits the car, he's like, wait a minute, what the fuck? A werewolf? I mean, he didn't say that because he's a kid, but that's basically what he's saying.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, that's just something I used to like. I would like hunt things like that, but I'm retired now. I'm just tying up some loose ends. And he's like, well, who's going to save people like me if you retire?
Yeah, and it freaks him out, and it kind of makes her pause, right? She's like, no, so I'm going to send you into your mom. And he is like, wait, I'm going to take your picture with this cool Polaroid camera that I have.
But I'm not going to get your face in it. It's just going to be like awkward, like artsy.
It's just going to be awkward, weird pigtails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and so she leaves, and he puts the picture on his bulletin board, and he starts tracking cases, essentially.
It's time for a montage.
It is a big montage of Asa becoming a hunter because of Mary.
Yeah. And so we see him growing from a young adolescent boy to a manly hunter. We see when he figures out how to make rock salt shotgun shells by the seashore. And then he like makes out with people and he reads a lot of paper and he cuts them up.
And he keeps writing postcards to Mary that he's not mailing because he doesn't know where she is.
Yeah, and he's got a Jeep.
And he grows a beard. And then he's running through the woods. And we see him suddenly get caught in a noose.
Yeah, it's very disturbing. And it's like,
very upsetting.
This is what? Like, you introduce us to this kind of like attractive band and then you hang him? You assholes.
All while Roll On Down the Highway by the Bachman Turner Overdrive plays.
All while making us. So that's how we open. But so we're going to get some relief from that because we're going to switch to Sioux Falls and get some Jody. And Jody has a really good idea. And I think she's also really hungry right now. And she wants some wine, some Netflix, and some pizza for her day off.
Yeah, and the girls are not there. So it's just her, and she gets a knock on the door, and it's Sam and Dean. And she informs them that they look terrible because apparently they had just finished a hunt and they were nearby, so they want to come say hello. But the girls are off they're off being angsty at a Radiohead concert.
Yes, who is playing in Omaha. They have gone to Omaha, Nebraska for a hot rock concert of Radiohead.
So
good for them. Yeah. And so it's less than 2 minutes since they walked in the door before Gene tells Jody that he killed Hitler. To which Jody is just this was he's like, thank you.
Yeah. And so they sit down and eat pizza, and Dean is mocking Jody's choice of chick flicks. And she's like, well, I am a chick. Duh. He's like, yeah, but you're like a badass chick. So, and she's like, whatever. But so Sam decides to share what Dean's into.
Animated Japanese erotica. So he likes some hentai, and this is visibly upsetting to everybody. And Jody leaves the room.
She does, and the phone rings. So she goes to answer it, and she is very upset when she comes back. Not about the hentai, but she has to go pack because she has gotten word that her friend Asa Fox has died. And Sam. Oh,
yeah, and the boys have heard of him before, and Sam's like, "Oh yeah, I heard a story once where he killed 5 Wendigos in a night from Ellen."
Yeah, and they're like, she's like, "Yeah, we met when he was working a case. He was pretending to be."
Now I want you to think about this. Everything she says now that you know what you know. So she and Asa met.
He was pretending to be Fox Mulder, FBI agent.
Yeah.
and he was hunting a pack of ghouls. And anyways, then he would come back and visit periodically, and they would just have coffee.
They just totally had coffee.
Casual. Totally casual.
Yeah.
But now she's got to get to his wake tonight.
Yeah. So they're going to go to have a wake and then salt and burn the body, which again, hunters, what the fuck? Y'all are just mean to yourselves and to others. You don't want to become ghosts. I get it. But we know what happens to them. You think Sam and Dean would stop them from doing this? Because I would tell them, like, you know what happens? They just burn to nothing and they go to the void. Like, what the fuck? Like, if you don't do this, you get to go to heaven or wherever you believe in. So tell them.
Just knock it off. Knock it off. This is not a good plan.
This is not So anyhow, and there's going to be other reasons why it's a bad plan we'll get to later. So, but the boys want to go because it's a hunter gathering and they've never really gone to them because John was just like, no.
John was not into hanging out with other hunters. So, but she's like, that's fine. You can come, but you have to bathe because you're fucking disgusting and we're not going to sit in the car for 5 hours together.
Yeah, they still haven't showered. That's really gross since they've been sitting there on her couch, getting her boy smell into their couch.
Like, who wants to eat when you're stinky? Like, you go take a shower, then you get refreshed and sit.
And then you get pizza. Oh, you gross boys! All right, so we're going to Manitoba, and this implies that they have passports. Do you think the passports are in the Winchesters' names, or are they using fake passports to get across? Yeah. So this is the first time that they have visited Canada within the show canon, other than their Vancouver visit in the alternative reality in season 6. So according to the show, they've only been stateside. The first time we're in Canada. So we're going up to the house we saw before and just many badly parked cars. None of these cars are parked with any fucking sense and nobody is going to be able to get out of there. No, it's very stressful to me. Please rearrange your cars.
And Man in the Box by Alice in Chains is blaring from the house. The family house.
The normal wake music.
Yeah, it's Asa's family home is what we learn. And there's people, it's a wake. They're drinking and laughing and telling stories throughout the house. And a woman greets Jody and clearly knows her. This is Asa's mom. Oh my gosh, I just blanked on her name. Lorraine. Yes. So Lorraine greets Jody. And she's just talking about how she's got a house full of loud, drunk hunters. And there we go. So
and Dean goes to the kitchen and we find some homebrew and we see the guy that we saw earlier from the montage with Asa working at the Jeep. And Dean introduces himself and the record stops.
Yeah. Because everybody knows who the fuck the Winchesters are.
Dean Winchester. Everyone's like, aren't you dead?
He died like 4 times. And is Sam, and then one of the other guys is like, is Sam here? His name is Elvis. He runs off to go meet Sam because he wants to meet Sam Winchester.
He wants to fanboy over them. And so these boys are known to other hunters and introductions start going all around.
Yeah, we got Bucky and Randy, our 2 main buddies, hanging out here. And Dean's like, well, yeah, by the way, I also heard crazy stories about Asa, but I didn't know him personally. And they're like, oh, which one did you know? And Dean learns that the magic word is Wendigo because he says it and then everybody has to drink.
Yeah. So anytime anyone says the word Wendigo, everyone has to go. So the story about Asa killing five of them at one time, we don't know is legend or not, but it is a magic word. So Bucky is like, look, man, if you think the stories you've heard about Asa, you should hear what they say about you. And we cut from that to where Sam is talking to a very good looking couple of twins.
Yeah, that are hunters. And apparently they were raised by a, quote, good witch who was very Enya 90s crystals witch, which I was amused by. But she taught them about magic and about seduction, apparently, because But Elvis is going to interrupt and introduce himself to Sam. And because he heard all about Sam from a friend of Garth's, that Sam was possessed by the devil, Lucifer himself, and lived and wants to know about it.
Yeah. And the twins are like, what the fuck, man? Like, what is wrong with you? Have some self-respect. You just don't go asking somebody something that messed up right off the bat. And Sam ran away. Like, it reminds me of like Richard Speight running away on the cruise ship when all the fans started approaching him and they were all drunk. I've never seen anybody run so fucking fast. And this is how fast Sam ran away.
So he's going for a beer. And those other, the two attractive hunters tell Elvis to go away, basically.
It was kind of mean. Like, he squishes it on the couch and they're just like, fuck off. Which I also it's kind of mean, but I'm also kind of impressed by it. So
Sam and Dean are now lurking around the house.
Dean is being fucking nosy. This isn't your house, Dean. Why are you in this man's bedroom? I know it's awake, but I don't know if like Lorraine was just like, please just walk through my house.
Right. Yeah, it seems like a lot. And they're like, they find that he's like, oh, Asa was legit. He has an angel blade. And Sam's like, by the way, did you know that people tell stories about us? And Dean's like, apparently we're legendary. And Sam's like, but so is Asa. And Dean's like, yeah, he died on the job. That's the best way to go. And Sam's like, do you really believe that? And Dean's like, yeah, we're not in a line of work where you live to 90 and die in your sleep. So it all ends one way, and points at all the clippings on the wall, all the cases. So that's sad.
It is sad. But also those cases are all people that Asa saved. So I don't know, Dean, look at that. And we can look at that one way or the other. But then Dean also warned Sam that he shouldn't say the word Wendigo right now. Yeah. So out in the house, Asa's mom is already starting to say goodbye to people. So we kind of feel like things are starting to wind down.
Yeah, except for a few of like the handful of like the ones that knew the family best. And so we've got it's Bucky, Randy, Lorraine, Jody, the two hot witch hunters, Elvis, and of course Sam and Dean. So Bucky's telling stories about something about Jody and Asa sneaking off for alone time.
Yep. So they used to sneak off and bang. And so now we know for sure what that coffee meant. But Asa was popular with the ladies, is what his mom says. And Jody justifies herself by saying dating is hard.
And that it was casual. But yeah, you get the implication that there was probably a little more to it than that. So Randy is going to go off to get refills. He goes down the hall to the kitchen, and on his way back, he gets his throat slit, but no one notices that he doesn't come back, and it's very quiet. And then
quiet gutting. Yep.
Yeah. And right around then, we also see our witchy chick come back from getting a refill and come sit back down too. So as that all's happening, we have a new guest arrive at the wake.
Yeah, Mary makes an entrance, and it's awkward.
Super awkward. And so, but Jody gets to meet Mary, which is also very awkward.
It's so very awkward because apparently Sam and Dean neglected to tell Jody that entire time that they were at their house or they were in a car that their mother came back from the dead.
Yeah, that seems like big news.
I think I would have led with that.
Not Hitler?
Perhaps not the Hitler. Perhaps not Dean. So, and Jody senses there's some tension, and she's going to wow herself away from the Sam and Dean and Mary show.
Yeah. So Mary shares that she's been all over, spent some time in Lawrence, but she's been following her through the journal to tie things up. And Dean's like, well, we could have done that. And she's like, yeah, I needed to do it alone because pretty much everyone I know is dead. And, but I remembered Asa and I thought he might still be around. And then I saw that he died. So, that's kind of a bummer, Mary.
Yeah, that's kind of what Mary is right now. Mary is just a bummer. But Dean is just pissy. And he goes, and she wanted to do it alone. So Dean goes off to pout, and he runs into Jody, who is righteously annoyed that she had to hear so much about Hitler and nothing about his mom.
Which is reasonable. And she's like, also, you should think about this, because she's like, if I had a chance to get my son and my husband back, I would literally give anything, but it would also scare me because what if I had changed or what if they had changed and it didn't work out? So no matter what happens here, I understand it's scary and I'm here to talk.
Yep. So it's very heartfelt. I'm here for you. And it's very nice. And we're going to get some less heartfelt conversations because as everybody ends up in the kitchen during a party, Lorraine is in there and she introduces herself to Mary.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's in a little disbelief about Mary's age, which is reasonable at this point. But anyways, Mary apologized, says she's sorry, for Lorraine's loss. And Lorraine basically holds Mary accountable she blames Mary for Asa being a hunter.
Yep.
That's what happened.
She blames him, and she does not like Asa having that life, right?
Nope.
And she's like, here are all these postcards that he wrote to you that he couldn't send. So we get to see the stack of postcards that we saw in the montage. Yeah. And Lorraine is just like, look, hunting was his life. He never married or had kids, and I'm pissed off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so she's just like, yeah, enjoy the wake. Bye. She's pissed. But so Sam finds Mary, and she's like, look, I think
I'm fine. I'm fine.
And Sam's like, no, he made his own decision and he saved people. We can't be upset about that. And she's like, everywhere I go and everything I do feels wrong. And he's like, it's okay to need space. We're here, we don't want to lose you again. It's fine. While Dean's drinking from his flask by himself outside, because of course he is.
Yeah. And Sam just gives her a hunting is in our blood speech. And so it's time to go look at Asa's corpse.
Well, but also we note that this took place in 1980. So she was not retired when everybody thought she was retired.
She was not retired. And she said she was finishing up a few loose ends when she was going out after this werewolf hunter.
Mm-hmm. So now we go look at Asa's body, and she uncovers his face, and then blood starts dripping on it. WTF.
Yep. And she's got to be really tired of seeing things and being on the ceiling. She's got to have ceiling PTSD now.
Yeah, I would say traumatizing for real. Because Randy's dead, bleeding, tied to the ceiling. It's very upsetting. So Sam and Mary go back to the main room, and Bucky's telling some story about Asa's Jeep. And she's like, we need to leave because somebody killed Randy. What the fuck? And we see Elvis come in, and he's like, why is the water turned off? And why does it smell like sulfur in here? I think he's a hunter, and it's just very
yeah. Nice. So it smells like sulfur. Then the electricity goes. They're like, oh no, it's a demon.
It's a demon. And apparently Bucky's like, it's jail. It's a crossroads demon who hangs people and snaps their neck and slits their throat. That's what killed Asa. We can't leave though now. Because the house is super warded and we're trapped here.
Yep. So they've been magicked in the house. And we got to Dean outside. And who should appear but Billy?
Mm-hmm. Which is not a good sign. But she's like, oh yeah, I totally just reaped a fresh soul inside. And so Dean's like, what? What? And tries to get back in, but he can't. As this is all going on, Bucky is sharing the story of Asa. Apparently there was a possession of a First Nations girl, and this demon made Asa watch the girl hang herself. And it was very upsetting to him and traumatizing to him. And so while he's telling the story, Dean is still trying to get in, trying to call Sam, and Billy's like, they're under a supernatural lockdown. So sorry about that. But yeah. Bucky's still telling his story. He's like, oh, we tried to do the exorcism, but it didn't work. And then 5 years later, JL came back, or we did the exorcism, but
but it's not
angel
permanent.
Blade.
Yeah, he said exorcism is not permanent like an angel blade. And JL came back and possessed Asa's girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. And then now they have to decide who in the house is possessed by the demon.
Yeah. So nobody in there has any holy water, and they can't make any more because the water is off. So now we learned that we talked about this way back in season 1, that they are apparently making their own holy water and not doing that with the priest because there is no priest in there. So they are apparently making holy water just by praying in it or dipping something in it. And there's no water, no plastic water bottle anywhere. Water. Can't you make some maybe holy beer?
There you go. Beer was holy originally, right?
Yeah, it was water, right? So why not? But so they're like, okay. So then Billy's just like, the lockdown is, we're going back and forth outside. So Billy thinks he says the lockdown isn't her, but she thinks it's funny.
Yeah, because she just likes a Winchester not getting their way. She's just as stoked about that. So inside, Sam remembers that Dean is outside. And he's like, wait a minute. And then our witchy chick starts laughing and coughing because she is fucking possessed. And
the demon cock smokes out, and they decide that they're going to pair off to go make sure there aren't any stragglers in the house.
Yeah. And Dean tells Billy, get me the fuck in that house. And she's like, it's a one-way ticket. I'll get you in, but that's it. So she's going to.
And you're going to owe me one.
Oh, that too. Always. So we know that's coming. But we've got Elvis is delivering Lorraine a fresh cocktail as Dean gets thrown through the door. And Lorraine thinks that he's a demon.
He's a demon.
But ends up Elvis is the demon and pulls a knife so we get a fight. And yeah. But while they're fighting, Dean's like, go to hell. And Elvis is like, it's a mess there. There's no Lucifer, no Crowley. So we know we're hearing more about how fucked up hell is right now.
So that's interesting to know. And Dean starts to exorcise him, and the demon just snaps his neck and cock smokes out.
It's crazy. Just like a self neck cracking. It's wild. It's very sad. And poor Lorraine's crying. She's very upsetting. So they all reconvene because they're all like, oh, well, the demon moved again. And the lights go out. And so they're lighting candles and making a
everyone have flashlights. So they're all prepared with the flashlight. Nobody had holy water, but they all had flashlights. And Dean's like, I've got a demon knife. And the twins are like, nice.
Like, that's cool. And someone goes and sneaks away to get the angel blade. We see that happen. But the way they're doing the opposite, they're like, oh, well, how is a devil's trap going to work? He's like, well, whoever is possessed won't get in the trap. That's how you know.
Right. And Max wants to know what kind of devil's trap Sam is making. And they nerd out because Sam's like, I'm making a standard pentagram, nothing fancy. And Max is like, I like a fifth pinnacle of Mars. It's got more character. And the fifth pinnacle of Mars is a way that you can stop demons from the key of Solomon. So that was cute. But Alicia's like, character is not what really matters.
Well, we now have Jody telling Sam that she thinks that Mary is possessed. And Dean's like, what? And Jody's like, you need to kill her right now. She's possessed. And Jody's like screaming at Sam and Dean to kill their mom because she's possessed. And so now they know that Jody's possessed because Jody wouldn't do that.
Yep.
No. And she's giggling about how she hoped they'd kill their mom, and she's flinging people around because she's, Jody demon. And Mary tries to kill Jody with the angel blade, and Sam stops her.
Because she's like, it's a demon. We kill demons.
And she's like, no.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, but it's Jody. I'm like, or any human being. Any human being. Don't stab them while they're alive. Like, that you do not get the person out. That you kill the... Okay. All right, Mary. I don't know what's going on.
Mary needs to catch up with the times a little bit here. So, Demon Jody's got everybody pinned to the floor, and she's going to go on her monologue about how... but we get a lot of intel. Yeah, we get all the tea because she's been in everybody's head apparently now. And so she knows that the witchy twins are there to say goodbye to their daddy. Oh, so we got a comment earlier. Yeah, because we had a comment earlier from the boy twin about how their mom had, basically had the hots for Asa. And that was all it was kind of like left on. But yeah, so apparently that Asa had twin kids that he may or may not have known about. Lorraine was apparently intentionally, regularly hiding Asa's gear in sabotaging his Jeep because she didn't want him to hunt. Apparently, Jody was not just, a fling. Well, Jody didn't consider Asa just a fling. She was fantasizing about a life with Asa. That's sad. And then Bucky is going to try to attack her. But she's like, no, you need to share your story, bud. And then we start having a round of trying to exorcise. Not exercise. Exercise.
Yes,
they're all taking turns.
It's jazzercise time. But as the group effort exorcism starts, and it starts off with Sam, and we're going to kind of round robin this through there, we find out that Bucky killed Asa.
Yeah. What the fuck? Oh. So they finish the exorcism, and Jody is freed of the demon. She's just like, that sucked. Poor Jody.
Yeah, and now it's time for Bucky to confess and tell his story. So apparently, while they were in the woods, JL was taunting them. Then they ended up in a shoving match, and he shoved Asa onto a stump, and he died. So he decided that he would fake it and pretend it was demon, so nobody would think that he killed his friend.
Yeah. So Dean's like, so you hung your best friend to cover your own ass? And he's like, what are you going to do to me? And the twins are like, we're just going to tell every hunter. You like stories. You're the one who likes to talk about all these other hunters. This will be the one about you forever.
So they're going to make this his legacy.
Because it was obviously an accident. It's just how he covered it up. That's like,
yeah, no. And he caused the death of 3 more people.
Yeah.
And so we're going to go to that where they are burning all the corpses.
The next morning. Yeah.
They're standing right in front of it. The smell. What is wrong with these women? It's going to be in their coats forever. Is the bonfire smell is bad enough? Then you're going to throw in some burning hair and flesh. And like, these are not skeletons. These are people who died that day. This is just nasty. What is wrong with you fucking hunters?
It's gross.
It is.
So as this is happening, Lorraine talks to Mary and says that she was wrong. Asa did have a family, including kids. And so she's going to go meet her grandchildren. And
she's just like, whoop, I'm just adopting these children now. Yeah, here we go.
And Mary apologizes to Jody. And Jody says, look, mom to mom, you've raised, the boys are good men. So we have a sweet moment there. And she's like, oh, I know they aren't the problem. So Jody's like, okay. Fine.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's internal, right? And Billy shows up and she's already got her favor. And the favor she wants is she wants Mary because she's a big believer in what dies stays dead.
Yeah. And Mary's like, I didn't ask to come back. And Billy's like, I know, but whatever, I know, but you have that dead man's look in your eye where the world doesn't fit. You feel alone. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm trying to give you mercy is what Billy says. And she's going to take her upstairs.
But there is a caveat because Reapers cannot kill people. So someone's going to have to kill her or she's just going to have to wait.
Yeah. And so Billy just says Winchesters and leaves.
Yeah. So Mary has proven herself that she is one of the Winchesters for sure. And Billy's going to fuck off. But if anyone knows, like anyone changes their mind, they know her name.
Yep. And there we go. They're going to go have some bacon for breakfast.
Yeah, because Mary's going to is not ready to go home quite yet. She needs some time on her own. But it seems like Dean's going to be a little less pissy about it. And so they're going to go get some bacon and walk away from the smell of the burning flesh.
Yeah.
So let's talk about our people who are in there. I'm assuming we got
oh my gosh. People. Yeah, we've got quite a cast.
Casting couch. It's the casting couch. Were they on that show that time with that guy? La 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 la.
So we've got Bucky was played by Mac Brandt. He's been in episodes of Jericho, Entourage, a few episodes of Grey's Anatomy, Bones, CSI, NCIS, Scandal, a couple episodes of General Hospital, Grimm, SWAT, Arrested Development a few times, Lovecraft Country a few times, 911 a few times, Monster a couple times, The Cleaning Lady a few times, The Pit, and Tracker. So some pretty popular current shows too. He was also Officer Mac Andrews on Prison Break, which was a reoccurring character. Baldur in Thor, Hammer of the Gods, which was a 2009 movie. Jack, the bartender in Venom, the movie. Construction worker in Barbie. And he was an Arkham guard in the new Joker. I'm not going to say the French words because I'll say it wrong. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, Elvis was played by Bill Wickman. He's been in episodes of Falling Skies, Arrow, iZombie, X-Files, Van Helsing, Riverdale, and The Last of Us. He was also a flight tech in the 2010 A-Team movie, and was a reoccurring character in Hell on Wheels, and then was Hutch in the film Bad Times at the El Royale. Lorraine was played by Lori Patton, been in episodes of X-Files and Chesapeake Shores. She was Mary Jo Buttafuoco in the Amy Fisher story. Alicia is our young witchy chick that gets possessed. Not young, but the hot witchy chick, hot witchy hunter. She's been played by Kara Royster, and she's in another episode of Supernatural. But she's been in episodes of Scream Queens, 911, The Runaways, NCIS, CSI Vegas, and Faking It as a reoccurring character. The twin brother, witchy dude, was played by Kendrick Sampson. He's been in episodes of CSI, Days of Our Lives, Rosewood, and The Flash. He was Jesse in The Vampire Diaries, a reoccurring character. Henry in a movie called Rougarou. And and he's been in a few other things as well. Randy was played by Darren E. Scott. He's been in episodes of 4400, Smallville, iZombie, Zoo, Van Helsing, Tracker, Supergirl, Altered Carbon. He's MX-43 in Almost Human as a reoccurring character, and did a lot of stunt work, specifically in the film Skyscraper, reoccurring episodes of Riverdale, the Shogun series, and more. So he's been in a lot of stunt work, actually. Asa Fox was played by Shane Jones, been in episodes of 4400, Fringe, Arrow, X-Files, iZombie, Flash, and The Last of Us. He was also a soldier in The Day the Earth Stood Still. And young Asa, who we saw at the beginning, was played by Jack Moore, who is a reoccurring character on Arrow named William Clayton.
Cool.
Woo.
Yeah, lots of hunters, but fun hunters.
Yes.
And yeah, so I like I said at the beginning of this episode's a lot, but what did you think?
It is. Well, so I think it was, I like that it added a layer for Jody, but it was just a sad layer, and she didn't need any other sad layers. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she can't date at all.
No!
She ends up going out with Crowley or banging a hunter. And really, we all know the hunter on... You picked him, I mean, y'all met up while you were on a hunt, and I don't think Asa seems like the stay-at-home kind of guy, so maybe you were trying to change him. I don't know. But this is my main problem with this episode. Anti-possession sigils. What the fuck?
Why
do you not, like, why don't you just paint them on? Like, I don't understand. You're hunters. Like, why are Sam and Dean the only one with anti-possession tattoos? We know.
And then why do people think that they're possessed when they clearly have those also?
Well, they don't. They didn't. Why didn't they have them? They should have had them. They're hunters. All hunters should have them. I would think that. And if the hunters did not have them, Sam and Dean should go, hey, do you know about these anti-possession things we have? And then, like, they all have a tattoo party.
Well, it's like Dean, they're like, oh, Dean must be the demon. And no one's like, no, he has an anti-possession tattoo. It can't be him. Like, no one, you know what I mean? They don't even bring it up. I don't know. That is a good point.
So, yeah, I feel like...
Very valid point. Anti-possession tattoo party is what we need.
They should have had... That's what that wake should have turned into. They should have been, like, tattoo... Like, someone should have got some stick and pens and just, like, sat there and just kind of, like, tagged each other.
You can just order one off the Amazon now. It's fine.
I don't, like... Don't do that.
Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Don't do that. Oh, no. I don't want to see your terrible tattoo on Instagram.
Do not do it. Don't do it. But yeah. No, that's a very good point. I feel like a lot of this episode was avoidable and it was very upsetting.
I feel like these hunters
weren't good at hunting?
They should know better. Like, I feel like this should have been an easier, we have a demon, this should be an easier solve. Like, I would have been like, 5 minutes, let's go, we got this, we got 6 hunters in here, like, let's clear this problem out. Fuck you,
why is this complicated? Yeah.
But no, I understand it obviously made for, I do love a good trapped in the house story. Like, it was like, let's trap everyone in the house so they're forced to confront their problems, right? I do love that as a trope. And it's been a while since they've done it on this show. So, I mean, yeah,
I enjoy meeting other hunters.
I always enjoy meeting other hunters, especially we got some good personalities in here, even though some of them, you know, not that I wanted to see more of Elvis. Like, this is probably enough Elvis, but it was sad to see him die that way, even though it was a really cool death.
I know.
It was very Death Becomes Her.
Yes. Flip around. Mm-hmm.
All right, anything else?
That's it.
All right. Cheers, jerk.
Cheers, bitch.
Devil's Trap Podcast is a Don't Get It production. Meow.
Devil's Trap Podcast is part of the Ship It Studios Podcast Network. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Devil's Trap Podcast, Twitter at Devil's Trap Pod, or you can email us at devilstrap@devilstrappodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave reviews, and share with all your friends. We're at all your favorite podcast outlets and at devilstrappodcast.com. I'm Babe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.